communication is very important in our relationships. Usually when we have a problem with people, most of the times this problem happens when we are talking. The way we talk to people. And through communication, we establish intimacy. Through communication. Sometimes you might have a difficulty to have intimacy because you have communication problems. You can't talk about important things. So sometimes you stay superficial because every time that you go a little bit deeper, you or the other person or both of you get upset. And then to avoid being upset, to avoid saying hard things, you stay shallow, you stay superficial. But then when you stay superficial, you don't have intimacy. And then the relationship becomes distant. And you feel like you are alone. You have someone, you are with someone, but at the same time you feel alone. And worse than being alone is being alone with someone. And another situation is when you talk about things, but you talk in a way that is so harsh that you hurt the other person, and the other person defends and attacks you back, and then you have the arguments. So the thing is how you can reach this intimacy, how you can talk about, these deep things, your feelings, your needs, what you like, what you dislike. And you can talk in a way that instead of creating argument or a war, but you reach intimacy. So every time that you talk about your feelings, about your needs in a respectful way, you reach intimacy, you become closer to the other person. And I want to check with you some Bible texts. They are like the center of this message. So my dear brothers, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, is slow to speak, and is slow to become angry. So it says here that we should listen more than speak. That should be our goal. If you would count, if you would have a chronometer, and if you could count when you are talking to people, how much you talk and how much you listen, do you think you listen more than talk, or you talk more than listen? I was talking to someone on the phone some days ago. He asked me something. When I would answer to him and I started answering, he would cut me off. And then I came again trying to say something. He cut me off again. So it was really hard talking to him because he couldn't hear. Another thing, Jesus said to his disciples, if anyone would come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for me will find it. The paradox of the truth, because sometimes you think you want to save your life, but because you want to save your life, you end up losing it. And in communication, in relationships, it's the same thing. You need to lose to win. Because when you try to win, you end up losing. And I'm going to show you this. And this is what means taking the cross, denying ourselves. We need to deny ourselves in communication. We need to overcome our ego. And then the last, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in humility consider others better than yourselves. I'm going to stop here because of the time, but think about this. Consider others better than yourselves. So we are going to understand this a little bit more. So I'm going to speak about active listening. Active listening means that when you listen to someone, it's not only physical listening or biological listening. Listening to someone is making that person feel that you respect what she is saying, that you respect that person's opinion, that person's worldview, that you understand that person. So the other person needs to feel understood by you. The other person needs to feel respected, valued by you. So this is what active listening is. It's not only stopping and not interrupting the other person, but it's making that person feel that you care about what she's saying. And there are some steps that you need to follow. I'm going to give examples. The first one is not interrupting. So this is very basic. Because if you are interrupting someone all the time, that person becomes frustrated, and that person feels that you are not really interested about listening. Right? Other thing. So this is so powerful, agreeing with the other person. This is difficult because each one of us has a different opinion. And we always think that we have the right opinion. We always think that we have the truth. And when we listen to something that is opposite to our opinion, we want to show to that person that that person is wrong and we are right. We have the truth. But the thing is that when we say that the other person is wrong, when we show our opinion, the other person feels humiliated. That person feels like we are trying to put him down. And maybe we are. Maybe we are trying to put the other person down and we don't realize it. But if we are or not, the other person will feel down every time you say that he or she is wrong. And that person is going to resist, is going to defend, is going to attack you back, and won't accept your opinion. This is why I said about losing. If you want to win, you end up losing. And this is how the other person doesn't feel understood, doesn't feel respected, doesn't feel valued, because you are not agreeing with the other person. So sometimes we try to argue with people to prove that they are wrong. We get very defensive, we get very nervous, and the more we are nervous and the more we argue, the more we lose. And this is what I was saying to you, that you need to lose if you want to win. And that is what means taking the cross.